Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Summer of Me. I am so happy to be with you guys today. We skipped last week. I'm not going to lie. I tried to record probably 4 episodes last week and I could not shake the tears. I just was having a really hard week and I at some point should put these together because they're actually, like, looking back now when I'm in a much healthier place, hilarious because I'm like start talking about something and then I just start crying. And one of the benefits and beautiful things about owning your own time and owning all of your own assets is nobody's like, you have to put out a podcast episode today. So while it's not ideal and I don't love skipping a week, I don't think that I could have maybe delivered the right content to you guys last week. It was just a big emo fest. I just was feeling off. Like, couldn't even tell you like directly what it was about. Sometimes I just like get in a like emotional funk. And when I'm in that place, like I can function in my normal life and whatever. But when you're trying to like speak with authority or just like show up and like share something that's valuable to people, I kind of had like a vulnerability hangover. And so I just was not equipped in any way, shape, or form to share something with you guys. So I skipped. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I am super excited about today's topic. We are talking about why more is really not a dirty word and why, as women, I think we are conditioned to be like, well, I'm just happy being a mom, or I'm just happy to take care of my family. And there's almost this guilt associated with wanting more and with wanting bigger and with wanting to be something else or have more identity than just a mom. And I know that like when you throw that out and people are like, oh, what do you do for work? Oh, I just stay at home with my kids. And then people are like, you just stay at home with your kids? You shouldn't say just. That's the most important job in the world. And it absolutely is a really important job. But I hate to break it to you, it doesn't last forever. That job is short term. And if you put all of your eggs in that basket, you're going to hit a place where your kids turn 18 and you either turn into a psycho helicopter mom who her identity is wrapped in her college kids, which is toxic, or you flounder and try to figure out how the fuck to revive yourself in a later age of life. So the goal here is not that more doesn't necessarily mean I'm negating everything that's important. It means all of these things are important as a mother, as a wife, as a partner, as a single woman, whatever. And these things are important too. I can still want more. I can still want wealth. I can still want abundance. I can still want purpose. I can still want community. I can do both. And it doesn't negate one or the other. If I'm doing all these things, it doesn't make me a shitty parent, or it doesn't make me an attentive partner. It just makes me a whole human. I'm really passionate about helping women like rewire the guilt around wanting a bigger life. I think that like it's absolutely possible and beautiful when you can be a mom and you can be a woman and you can be a partner and you can be a girlfriend or a wife or whatever, and you can be a badass businesswoman who is successful and high achieving and intentional with her time and a intense purpose and passion and all of these, like, those things coexist. And when they coexist, you are fucking unstoppable. And so there's absolutely no reason why we shouldn't champion both parts of those, both sides of those. And sometimes as women, we're only one of those things and we only want to be. I only want to be a mom in this season of my life. Great. Have at it. Do not let anybody else make you feel guilty for not doing that. Or I don't want to have kids. I'm actually not interested in children. I'm not interested in having a husband. I'm focusing on my career. Great. Those things are great. I think that you can really either do either or. But for me in my life and where I've gone, and I think a lot of the women that I talk to through social media or just in real life, they want a little bit of both. They want to be a mom. They want to raise a family. They want to nurture. They want to create something in their home, but they still want to have this big, beautiful purpose outside. They want to contribute to the family. They want to have a community that serves something different than their family. And I think that that's a beautiful calling. So we're going to talk about it a little bit. I'm just going to kind of walk you guys through my personal experience with this and maybe give you some things to think about, some questions to ask yourself. I have always worked. I first started when I was 18. I graduated high school, went to college, got an internship at Amazon. I begged my friend Scotty, who now is my friend. He was my boss at the time. I begged him for this internship. I was like, you don't even have to pay me. I don't even need the money. I just want my foot in the door. Like, I was like, please. And he was like, well, you're not like necessarily like the right like phase in college or the year or whatever. And I was like, I don't give a fuck. Like, let me show up. Let me do the work. And so he did. I begged him, and God bless Scotty. Anyways, but I worked at Amazon, and then when I was like burnt out there, I was getting married and I wanted to have a baby, and so I quit, and they're like, can you do contract work? And so I had Baylor, and I worked at home as a contractor for Amazon and would literally like be nursing a baby and like doing graphic design. I helped launch Amazon Fashion way back in the day, and now it's obviously like this massive, robust thing. And then when I left Amazon, I started my own stuff. I've always worked, but I think that there was a lot of pressure, or even just this like sort of weird dream to be like, man, what would it be like to just like stay home and like raise my kid and like not have to work or not. And at the end of the day, like I think that was just, it wasn't even that it was a pipe dream for me. It was not as enticing as I thought it could be. Like I probably financially, like we could have made some cuts and been on a better budget and whatever and like been fine if I just like didn't bring in any money. But I have always had this like deep seated passion and fire inside of me to not only contribute but to find success. I have felt like there's something inside of me that's like wanting to knock down doors and create new pathways and find purpose for myself but pave the way for other people as well. And I'm not negating motherhood in its beautiful purpose. I'm just saying that like I have always wanted more for myself, and there is this stigma that like if you want more, like you're probably not satisfied being a mom, and if you're not satisfied being a mom, like maybe you're a shitty mom, or like you're not being grateful for what you have or present where you are, blah 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 blah. And ultimately, like I was present. I was an incredible mom to when I had babies. Like I was nurturing, I was loving, I was there. But I also worked my ass off. I was up until 1-2 a.m. every single night. I would literally nurse a baby at 10 or 11 p.m., put them to bed, go downstairs to my office, pack hundreds of orders on Etsy that I was selling like college shirts for kids. I would pack all these orders, and then I would go upstairs at 2 a.m., feed the baby again. Like I was, my kids were little, like infants. I would feed the baby, and then I would go to bed for 3 hours, and then I would wake up and I would feed the baby again, and I would, do my normal day with the kids. And then at nap time, I would run into my office. Like I was just functioning at such a intense pace, but it's what drove me. It's what kept me feeling somewhat like myself. And what I realized is like when I stopped doing that is when I started to lose myself and feel like I was sort of disintegrating into this life that like I had created, but I didn't really get to be a part of. I want to share in this episode is that like if you are one of those women who want more money, you want more time, you want to, have a more robust life, you have ambition, you have purpose, like all these things, awesome. Like that is fucking amazing. And like I want to champion you. I want to celebrate that. I want to cheer you on. I want to validate that is a very normal feeling. And like you can love your kids unending and be an incredible mom and still want more. That's okay. You absolutely should lean into that. You can also love your kids and feel 100% fulfilled by that and lean into that and not do anything else. I think that's amazing. My opinion on that is amazing, but that is not forever. You cannot be a 100% mom forever. Your kids need to grow up. They need space. They need to leave the nest. They need to be released from your grip. And so what are you going to do when they hit 18? I'm sorry, not even 18. Baylor is 13. He doesn't need me. Yes, he needs my car. He needs me to drop him off places. He needs my permission to go to things. I'm not sitting here nursing him, cuddling him, nurturing him. No, we're like shooting the shit and like having a conversation. But like my role in motherhood when my oldest is 12, 13 is vastly different than when he's 3, 4, 5, newborn, whatever. Like it changes so freaking fast. It will blow your mind. And so if you're putting all of your eggs in that basket, no pun intended, those are your eggs. If you're putting all your eggs in that basket for this season, amazing. Do not lose yourself. Have some hindsight, just a little bit of intention, knowing like this is great for a season, but I don't want to fully lose myself in this because it's not forever. And I know that at some point I'm going to have to grow and evolve and be somebody else. I'm not going to always just be Baylor's mom. I have to be Kendra that has purpose outside of her kids. I have to be Kendra that has intention when it comes to building a romantic relationship with somebody. I have to be the Kendra that has financial stability and can provide for myself. So have some intention and just in the back of your mind, be aware that like, if that's the path that you're taking right now, you're going to end up feeling, there's a reason that they say like empty nest syndrome. It's like people don't know what to do with themselves. Like they either go into depression or they go into a midlife crisis. All of these things exist because we don't take the time to actually realize like my kids are amazing, but they are not my entirety. They are a part of my life. They are a part of me. They are a part of my purpose. They are a part of my journey. At the end of the day, you have to take responsibility. What you create in your world is so much bigger and it absolutely should be. I think that the guilt, I think, from wanting more in our life comes from, first of all, I think it's generational. I will never forget, and I love my mom dearly, but my mom always used to say, I would never leave you guys overnight. I think I only left you one time overnight. I did not want anybody else raising you. I was very like, and my mom was never gone. I remember one time she left, she went on a trip to Arizona. We had to stay back with my dad, and it was like for 2 nights, and I sat under the coat hook, brown coat hook hanging in the kitchen. I can see it right now. There was coats hanging off it, and I sat behind it with coats over my head, and I just cried because I wanted my mom to be home. She was always home. And the message as a child that I took from that into adulthood was like, I'm a shitty mom if I'm doing that same thing. I'm a negligent mother if I'm not there for my kids every single night. Well, you know what really fucking blows that up? A divorce. Guess what? Guess how many nights I miss with my kids? 50% of the nights. Half of their fucking childhood. Guess where I am? In an entirely different house. Maybe somebody else's house. They don't even know. I might be in a high rise, honey. They don't even know where I am. I am in a different house. They are with their dad. I am by myself. 50% of the time. So that took a ton of rewiring, of reprogramming, of getting over the guilt of feeling like I am a shitty parent if I wanted more for myself. I chose more. I got a divorce because I wanted more for my life. I wanted something different. I outgrew the situation I was in. I was ready to really fully come into myself. I got married when I was 20. We got together when I was 18. I am a different human on every single cellular level. You have a cell turnover more often than that. Like, I am a different human. So for me to want more for myself, guilt. Immediate guilt, immediate jail. So I think generationally, it has changed really rapidly. Our grandparents, like, they were present. They were there. They weren't traveling the world. They were not doing all these things. They were fucking putting dinner on at least in my family, dinner was on the table at 5 o'clock. That fucking bell rang. Your kids came in from outside. And I do think that like that was a different culture in the way that like the kids were outside, the parents were inside. Like there was not like our generation is like this massive commingling of like, we spend so much time with our parents. Our parents were so far up our asses, and I think it gets worse and worse. There's a meme that floats around the internet that's like, I don't ever remember my mom filling up my water bottle. Like, this is the most hydrated generation. We're just crawling further and further up our kids' asses. Honestly, like, we are the helicopter parent generation. It's because I think, in my personal opinion, like, there's this history of like guilt that's just ingrained into our culture, and it's a generational programming, basically. I think there's also just like an overall culture of mom guilt where people feel like, oh, I have to be the best mom. I have to be present. I have to do all these things. I can't have a job because if I don't have a job, I might miss fucking Sunny's softball game. Well, guess what? Sunny doesn't give 2 fucks if you're at their softball game. You have work to do. I miss my kids' stuff all the time. I used to feel guilty about it. Do I feel guilty about it? No. Now? Absolutely not. I'm sorry, Memphis. I love you to death, but I cannot be at your Girl Scout graduation. Also, we're not doing Girl Scouts anymore. It's a waste of time. We're not Girl Scout people. We're not fucking Boy Scout people either. If you are, God bless you. Scouts honor, but that is not for me. That is not for my family. And I'm not going to carry guilt that I can't make every single event, okay? I don't know what that fucking badge is they wear that crisscross around their neck, but it's stupid and we're not doing it, okay? Sorry, not sorry. And then I think that we also put this like guilt on ourselves or this judgment on ourselves that like, I shouldn't want more. I should be content with what I have. My husband makes enough money. I should be fine. I should be just like coasting. No, you shouldn't. If you have this deep, innate desire and self-inflicted passion to do something, to change something, to build something, to grow, like God has put that in you for a reason. He has laid that upon your heart. You desire that because it's coming for you, and you absolutely should lean into it instead of having this internalized judgment that like, I shouldn't want more. I should just be happy with what I have. You absolutely shouldn't just be happy with what you have. You shouldn't. I'm sorry. That's how you fucking get lazy. That's how you get complacent. You should want more. You absolutely should, because guess what? When you want more, you get creative. You get curious. You start thinking, how could I do this? How could I make this better? How could I change this for people? And then you start paving a way. You start changing people's lives. You start changing the trajectory of your kids' future. You start inspiring your spouse. You start inspiring yourself. You won't fucking believe what happens when you want more. It's amazing. So here's the thing, what happens. We get all this guilt. We create it all. We have this like, oh, I shouldn't want more, but I do want more. And you have this push and this pull and this dynamic that becomes toxic. And what happens is that the cost of shrinking becomes pretty fucking great, because guess what? You have resentment. Resentment builds when we settle. If you are settling in the life you're in, you're like, well, I shouldn't be this. I should be grateful. I should be content. You are going to build resentment because inside your body wants more. Your heart wants more. Your spirit wants more. And so then you're going to resent everything and everybody that's preventing you from doing more. You're going to resent your spouse. You're going to even resent your fucking kids. You created those motherfuckers, and now you're going to resent them because you want more, and you've put these self-limiting beliefs on yourself, or you've been conditioned to believe this, or your spouse is telling you, no, I don't want you to start. I can't fucking tell you how many people want to start a business and they're like, I don't think my husband will let me. I don't think that my husband thinks it's a good idea. He thinks it's a scam. Oh, really? Is he the fucking scam police? I didn't know that Joe went to school for scams. Really? He doesn't think you should do more. Well, you know what's going to happen, JoJo? She's going to resent the fuck out of you for not celebrating her, not cheering her on, not encouraging her, not helping her channel her purpose and wanting more. The cost of shrinking is really fucking big. Guilt keeps women small and it keeps them exhausted. It keeps them from pursuing something that maybe that God has laid on their heart. Maybe it's their passion. Maybe it's their gift. And when we have guilt, it keeps us exhausted. It keeps us small. It keeps us thinking on a very safe level because we can't comprehend that we might blow something up. We might cause a little bit of a ruckus. We might cause a little stir up if we don't let our guilt get in the way and we decide, hey, I actually want more. I want more money. I want more time. I want to spend more time with my girlfriends. You should. You want more time with your girlfriends? You absolutely should get more time with your girlfriends. If you let the guilt get in the way, it's going to keep you small. When we stay small, it's great for a minute, okay? If we stay small, it's great for everybody around us that takes advantage of us being small. If you're married to somebody who takes advantage of you being small, what that looks like is they're benefiting from you not having boundaries. They're benefiting from you not having purpose because everything in their world works perfectly because you're there to make it all happen. And one of the things that I experienced, and this is partly on I take my own ownership for this, just like so many things in my marriage, is that when we don't communicate our needs and when we stay small on purpose, we end up resenting, right? When we feel like we can't do the things we want to do, we can't follow our purpose, we can't follow our passion, we sit in this place where we are tired, we're worn out, we're not serving everybody else in our life. We are living small, and we're doing that to benefit the people around us that our smallness, our not wanting more and our living in this small circumstance is making everybody else's life peaceful and beneficial, and they're taking advantage of our boundaries because they're working for them. There's a quote that says, the people that don't like when you set boundaries are the people that benefit from taking advantage of you not having them. I think that's a really important lesson to understand, a really important lesson to learn, and a thing to be aware of. If you are feeling small, you're feeling tired, you're feeling like I have this guilt, I can't want more, and everybody around you is thriving, they're traveling, they're doing this thing. I remember looking around and my ex-husband was traveling every single week, doing all of these things, having all these experiences, and I was like, I'll be over here taking care of the family. I'll be over here taking care of the children. I'm not going to go on a girls' trip because that would be a fucking inconvenience to everybody. Guess what? You should get really fucking comfortable being an inconvenience. You absolutely should be an inconvenience. You deserve to be an inconvenience just as much as your kids do, just as much as your spouse does, just as much as your family member. You get to be an inconvenience because you know what inconvenient people do? They change the fucking world. They make people uncomfortable. They are shapeshifters. They make things happen amongst other people, and people get uncomfortable with their success. They get uncomfortable with the way they live their life. You absolutely should start getting comfortable making people uncomfortable, doing things that are inconvenient. That is how you grow. That is how you evolve. That is how you change the life that you are living. That is how you create vision and purpose and a path forward. And it's how you, at the end of the day, like it's how you change your circumstances, is by being inconvenient. It's by being uncomfortable. It's by doing things that feel like, well, if I do this, there's going to be a domino effect. Yep, there absolutely is. You should not be the only person responsible for picking up those pieces. Everybody here involved in whatever circle you're living in, whether it's with friends, whether it's with family, whether it's with your spouse and your kids and your in-home family, you absolutely should be able to create a domino effect and have a partner that comes in and says, hey, if you do this, all of this is going to happen. Let's figure out a way to negate that, or let's figure out a way to solve that so that you can still do all of these things and all of these other pieces will still function, myself included, okay? If your partner is like, well, if you go on that girls' trip, it's going to make it really hard work for me at work. Okay, well, I'm sorry, John. Have you ever considered that when you go on a fucking work trip every single week, it's really goddamn inconvenient for me too? I love eating dinner by myself, John. I fucking love bathing all the kids and doing all of that all by myself. Have you ever considered how inconvenient it is for me? They don't fucking consider that maybe their life and their income that they have to earn and their purpose and they're a man and they have to provide is really fucking inconvenient. Okay. The reframe, okay? This is called the reframe. Wanting more does not mean that you are ungrateful. I want you to say that out loud. I want you to repeat that. I want you to think that. I want you to believe it. Wanting more does not equal not having gratitude. There is a difference between contentment and complacency. Again, if you are content and you feel like everything is thriving and everything is good and you genuinely don't have the desire for more right now, I am so filled up by what's happening in my life right now. I don't want more. There's not a bone in my body that's like, man, I wish I did this, or I wish I could bring in this kind of money, or I wish I could pursue this passion, or I wish I could do this hobby, or I wish I had more time with my girlfriends. If there's not a part of you that feels that, that's contentment, that's peace, that's incredible. Lean into that. Absolutely lean into that for a season. Be aware that that might change, that might evolve, that might grow. Pay attention to those things. Self-awareness is our best tool. So if you are just living that life, you're not going to feel that way for years and years and years. There was definitely seasons of my life when I was so freaking content, loving my kids, nursing, being present, rocking them to sleep. Did I always work? Yes. However, there was definitely moments where I felt more fulfilled by being a mother than I ever did with work. There is a difference between contentment and complacency. Complacency is when you're doing all of that stuff, you are building resentment. You have guilt for wanting more. You are just doing the things that you have to do. You're getting by. Another day, another death. Surviving, not thriving. That is complacency. And we absolutely do not deserve to live in a place of complacency. Life is too short to be complacent, okay? You deserve to be content. You deserve to feel fired up and fueled and passionate and excited. And you deserve to get more if that's actually what you want. Role modeling expansion is the most important thing that we can teach our kids, in my opinion. I think that if I can show my 4 daughters, hey, I get to be a mom. I get to be your mom. I love being their mom. I love talking to them, seeing them grow, seeing them change, snuggling them, nurturing them, supporting them, cheering them on, crying with them, all of this. I love that. But you know what I also love? I love that they get to see more of their mom. They get to see that their mom is an entire, complete person. I'm not just their mom, okay? To them, maybe some days, man, you're my mom, okay? But my kids see me as a business leader. My kids see me as somebody who pursues relationships with friends, pursues relationships. My kids know about my dating life because I want them to understand I'm not just here to serve you. I'm not just a skeleton named mom that's here to fucking be your vending machine and your ATM machine and just do whatever the hell you need me to do for the next 18 years. And then you get to go and leave me in the fucking dust. I mean, obviously they don't leave you in the dust, but there is a degree of departure there, right? I want to role model that I am an entire person for my kids. And I want them to see me expanding and growing and changing and evolving and becoming somebody. So because I think that our kids, when they can see that that's what we're doing, they're going to model that. And that allows them, especially having daughters, it gives them permission to be more. It gives them permission to explore themselves, to see what else is out there, to have a purpose if they want a purpose, to be a mother if they want to be a mother. But they don't have to just be one thing. We don't have to compartmentalize everything in our life. So the way that I got out of thinking that I didn't deserve more or having guilt about wanting more or really just living a life that I didn't have more in was the summer of me. And that's obviously the namesake of this podcast. And we've talked about it a lot before, but what that looked like on a tangible level was becoming unapologetic in setting boundaries. I was like, I am going on this girls' night. I'd never, ever gone on a girls' night. I am going on this vacation. I am taking this work trip. I am doing these things. It's so uncomfortable. It was actually so uncomfortable for me to set these boundaries, to do these things. I had never left my kids overnight. I was like, holy shit, I'm going to go take this work trip and leave my kids for 4 nights. They've never. It was so uncomfortable, but it pushed me. It had me making uncomfortable choices that absolutely changed the trajectory of my life. I think other tangible shifts that you can make, that I did in the summer of me, was just thinking, what is this decision going to do for me? What is it going to do for my children? What are the long-lasting and short-lasting impacts of this decision? And sometimes as a mom, we're just expected to make the next right decision. We're just expected to do what's best for our kids and to just keep things stable and keep the ship running and all of those things. And we rarely filter ourselves and what we need through those decisions. And so I encourage you to start asking yourself, how does this make me feel? What do I want to do? How does this impact me? Is this not making this decision because it's uncomfortable for other people or inconvenient for other people in my life? Or am I not making it because I actually don't want to make it? And I think that when you can weigh those two things against each other, there were so many decisions I made purely because they were convenient for the other people in my life. They were convenient for my spouse. They were convenient for my children. They were convenient for my mom, who was my main childcare helper. I was making decisions for everybody else. And the only thing that was happening inside of me was guilt, resentment, frustration. And I was simply living to make everybody else's life convenient, everybody else's life happy. And in the process of that, I simply died. I died to myself. I lost myself. I lost the plot. I didn't know who I was. I had no friends. I had no purpose. I had no community. I had nothing that was allowing me to survive and thrive and have more on a me level, not an everybody else level. And So I think the moral of the story, hopefully this is not too long-winded, but the moral of the story is you only get one life. Let it be rich, emotionally, spiritually, financially, just from every single level. I encourage you to think about how can I squeeze more juice out of this? How can I be a wife, but also not lose myself to friendship and create beautiful, full friendships where I can travel with these women that I love and build this sisterhood? How can I, be a mom and still find purpose in other things? I encourage you to start asking yourself some of these questions and really understand that just because you want more doesn't mean that you don't appreciate what you have. It doesn't mean that you don't have gratitude for the things that you've been given or the life that you've created. It's absolutely okay, normal, healthy, exciting, and rich to want more in your life. You only get one life. If you have felt guilty for wanting, I hope this episode helps you. If you are looking for something more, please reach out. There's a million ways out there to want more. And more for you might not be a business. It might not be wanting more finances or whatever. It might just be a purpose. It might be a nonprofit. It might be a volunteer opportunity. It might just be friendship. It might be doing your own fucking thing by yourself. You want more alone time? You absolutely should have more alone time. There is no question. I think as women, as moms, we do not have the alone time that we need or we deserve. This has been one of the most eye-opening experiences since becoming a single mom and having to split custody. I have 50% of my time. That is half of my life from here forward where I do not have kids. I am alone. Unless I decide to be I've obviously dated, I've had partners, or if I decide to be with a friend. But the premise is I am alone. And I think that it has been the most enriching experience. It has been so eye-opening, and I just realized I was never alone until I got divorced, ever. I went from, being in high school to being in college to being married to having babies, and I treasure my time alone. And if you are not getting any time alone, if you're I don't remember the last time that I had 6 hours uninterrupted to go do whatever the fuck I want, even if it's stare at a wall or sit in the shower or go shopping or whatever, you need to prioritize that. That is more. That might be your more. You don't have to go wilding out and take a fucking trip to Tanzania with your bitches. You could absolutely want more in the way of, I want more time by myself, to think about myself, to think about my thoughts. What do I want? Where do I want to eat? I don't fucking want Chick-fil-A again. I'm sick of smelling Polynesian sauce. Can I get an amen? You should want more, and you should be able to go and get yourself whatever coffee you want and whatever cute little salad lunch spot you want. That is your more. So figure out what your more is, and I challenge you and encourage you to go after that. Even if it's inconvenient, even if it's uncomfortable, even if there's a domino effect, go get more. Thanks for listening to another episode of The Summer of Me. Thanks for listening to The Summer of Me. You can listen to episodes on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube. Come hang out and follow my chaos on Instagram @Kendra for now. See you next time.